Yeah, so thanks everyone for the time. I know it's a tough spot after lunch, but maybe we can learn something together. And also thanks to the entire LINX team for the invite. I always enjoy getting back to London because it means I can buy some deep heat off the counter or over the counter, which is way stronger than these weak shit we get in Germany. And as I'm getting older, that becomes more and more important. So yeah, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Moritz. In my day job, I build white label portals for data center. And in my free time, I run a small little conference in Germany called DNOC, which I hope all of you attended or will attend next year. And in that free time that I still have left, I am building Stuttgart-IX with a team of friends. So, quick geography lesson. Who here in the room believes to know where Stuttgart is? That's a few, okay. Then let's maybe do a quick Germany tour. It's weird starting with Frankfurt as a German, but for the internet industry, it obviously makes sense. Most of you have a router there, but if you've been there, you wouldn't start introducing Germany with Frankfurt, especially if you've been at the central station. A bit better known is Munich, you know, home of the Oktoberfest, my hometown, great beer, great parties, also some internet there. And then we have Stuttgart, roughly a millisecond south of Frankfurt and 2 milliseconds west of Munich. Lovely little city. We'll get into what makes it so special in just a second. But I need to get some facts and figures out of the way so we can all do what IXPs love, you know, show graphs that go up and to the right and everything like that. So in Stuttgart, we are connecting 35 peers, roughly at 1.3 tera connected capacity, and we're peaking just shy of 160 gigs. You can see in the past 5 years, we've, well, grown quite a bit. And this is not only due to the demand, whatever bullshit bingo you want to play, AI or whatnot is driving traffic, but there's actually been quite some change for us and for the IX. But let's quickly look at what Stuttgart is. Stuttgart, as some of you may know, is home to some of the world's best cars, Mercedes and Porsche, some great engineers, Bosch, Mahle, Festo, and some supporting industry. And I may be biased here, the best soccer club in the world. I'm sure those of you into soccer will disagree with me. Anyway, we do have a interesting, at least speaking in London, interesting fiber carrier situation where you can buy fiber in Stuttgart from Zayo, just across the road from here, or from Colt, which probably is also somewhere headquartered in London. Or if you prefer the more German experience, and this is not only due to the language, but also the processes, you can buy it from NetComBW. There are some other fiber operators in the city, but most of them, just like EU Networks, or I think even BT has some assets there, barely have any homes connected. So really, if you want to connect a customer, you're probably best with these three guys. And then also data centers. What you in London would probably call a data center, I don't know, starting at a megawatt, doesn't really exist in Stuttgart. There was Atlas Edge, formerly Data Center 1 GRP10, which is now in the process of being closed down and being replaced by STR001. Don't ask me why they changed the numbering and are expecting to have over 100 data centers in a city, but dream big, guys. So Atlas Edge is basically the only data center above a megawatt in the area, at least public data center, and everything else is more or less a telco pop or an aspiring data center, as you probably want to call it. The main point is we don't have any real interconnection hubs. And that brings in Stuttgart-IX and kind of our mission. Let me start with the last point first. Our mission is, or we're not interested at all in world domination, as some other Germans are. We are very happy where we are. And we really just want to serve our community and be a marketplace. Stuttgart is the capital of the federal state of Baden-Württemberg. And in Baden-Württemberg, we also are bordering Austria and Switzerland at Lake Constance. We're bordering France. So there is a lot of development around us that somehow needs to, well, find a community, find a way to interconnect, because if you want to serve your customers in the federal states, then you most likely will need to meet the others, and going up to Frankfurt and back down again, well, just adds latency. So that's why we're here. That's Stuttgart-IX. The IXP itself exists, we don't know how long, we guess roughly since 2005. It was started by André Scholz and Winfried Haug back in the day. It was just a single switch in one data center and some cables in between. And it more or less remained this switch ever since. Winfried, shortly after the project launched, left it, abandoned it, moved somewhere else. We sadly lost contact with him. And the switch kept on switching. Andre was the driving force behind the IX, getting people to connectors. So we were something like 20, 25 peers when Andre sadly passed away way too early in 2017. So thereafter, the switch was still silently humming along in his memory, but yeah, everything slowly degraded. The switch started throwing backplane errors. And we kind of were at this point where, we were pushing 2 to 3 gigabits at the time, mostly over private VLANs. As mentioned, we have a lot of what you would call altnets, just connecting at the IXP, getting a VLAN for a service from whatever Lake Constance up to the north or something like that. So there was actual business happening on that IX, and we kind of needed it to work. And the backplane errors were not causing traffic loss, but it was just a question of time until that good old Force 10 terascale switch was about to die. So we needed to find, well, a future for the IX, and we had more or less 3 options. Option 1 is abandon the IXP, throw a cross connect, be done with it, and yeah, was a nice idea, and leave it be. The other is, speaking of world domination earlier, give it to one of the big guys and have them run it for us, which they would happily do to add another pin to their landmark to their maps. Or option C, do it ourselves. And we met with the community in 2019. Everyone sat together, had a couple of beers and a pizza, and we decided we want to give it a shot. This was September 2019, and then everyone was enthusiastic that we're going to do something, but nobody did. Then came 2020, and there was something that caused me to have some more free time than I anticipated back then. So I sat down and rebuilt the entire tech stack. If you are interested in that, that's not going to be this presentation, but I gave quite a detailed look into it at a DNOC 12 talk, so feel free to watch that one. It's on YouTube. At that time, 2019, 2020, we were mostly, or we did 5 gig, still mostly through private VLANs. Public peering wasn't really happening, and all was running on a Cisco Nexus switch. As mentioned, the Force 10 was dying, so we found a Nexus lying somewhere around, and was actually worse than the Force 10 because this thing crashed every 2 weeks. So we reached out to our friends at Arista, and they found some old 10 gig switches we could use somewhere, so thanks for that. And then we approached some CDNs to join us. Akamai was the first one to step up. This may be because I used to work for Akamai before, but that's just a rumor. And soon after, Meta, Cloudflare, and PCH or Quad9 joined us, so the IX was actually growing. We also at that time started asking ourselves the question, what do we want to be and what don't we want to be? And for us, it was pretty clear we want to be a peering LAN and we want to be that marketplace between the members, but we didn't want to be, the full-stop shop that some IXPs have become today. So we were not interested in doing any cloud business, any DDoS defense or whatnot. We just wanted to focus on what we did. But then again, we wanted to be fully neutral. And being fully neutral to us also meant other IXPs can connect. So DKIX approached us. We had a good conversation with them. And we basically said, hey, if you want to come to the IX, feel free. You can buy a VLAN as everyone else can. You can buy a port as everyone else can. And you can sell your services on there. And this offer also stands to all other networks that want to connect to the IX. You don't have to be peering with us. You can also just have one or multiple VLANs. The only thing we really care about is that our peering LAN remains local and under our control, so it will not be redistributed. It will not become a remotely peered IX. It will be a local traffic exchange. Anyway, all this, especially CDN-driven growth, but also the partnership with DKIX, kind of meant that our peers were upgrading, and this somehow attracted the tier 2 carriers in Germany. It's mainly Core Backbone and Interlink, but also some others. And this had an interesting effect on the community because back then we were already in cities like Frankfurt, Munich, or Berlin at a point where, at a 1 gig commit, you would probably get your traffic for 20 to 30 euro cents per megabit. But Stuttgart was still at what we probably call Asia levels, right? Euro or something per megabit. So during this time, traffic prices and transit pricing decreased, which allowed our members to kind of survive. And I'm gonna get into this in just a second. Also, with all the revenue now coming in, we were actually billing members and getting funds to run this whole show because, well, after all, the CDN caches do draw quite a lot of power and data centers also cost money. It allowed us to invest in some hardware. So we were good friends with Arista. good call on them, giving us a dead switch and now getting hundreds of thousands of revenue. We bought some Arista 7280 series switches and became one of the first IXs in Europe to run MPLS EVPN, because our topology really didn't seem to make too much sense if we wanted to run VXLAN EVPN. And in the same time, in Germany, another IX was starting, Dresden-IX, DD-IX for short. Dresden is, well, somewhere on the east between Munich and Berlin. And so we decided to give back to them. We got the, we took the old Arista switches we received, gave them a second life, handed them over to them, talked to our friends at Flex Optics, got 96 10 gig optics, and basically allowed this new IX to kickstart, which I think was great success. They're moving forward quite nicely, and the community loved it. Now, this is mostly the story of Stuttgart-IX and the past 5 years in a nutshell. But I would like to spend one slide addressing the CDNs and hyperscalers in the room. We've heard it before from Arturo, from Google, or from Meta at EPF in Bucharest. Managing the long tail, and that's kind of what we're doing, is operationally expensive, and the returns are diminishing. If all Google's public IXP peering in the world is a low single-digit percentage, then probably what we do is not even a rounding error. And I have worked for enough large companies myself to understand that the business case comes long before any idealism we have. But for our peers, I said, the longest of long tails, it is kind of essential for their survival. If it weren't for us, the alternative would be that they have to give up a wave to Frankfurt, let's say $1,000, a rack in Frankfurt, another $1,000, a port of one of the largest IX or larger IXPs, and a handful of PNIs, probably 2 or even 3 more grand. If you're just turning over 1 or 2 million, that's probably, well, going to be the end of it, or at least do a significant hit to your P&L. And once these smaller networks have to give up, they're most likely either selling to the incumbent or their customers will divert there. Either way, if you're looking at your commercials with the German incumbents, and also what we've heard in the beginning yesterday, you may realize that this is also not a desirable option. Now, I'm not asking you to change your business models or strategies. All I'm asking is that you become a bit easier to approach for smaller IXPs, so you can aggregate. So we, the smaller IXPs, can aggregate the long tail for you. It may seem like this whole getting the CDNs to connect to us was a smooth sailing for us, but in reality, it required attending a multitude of industry events, luck being introduced to the right people, and a lot of friends from the industry who vouched for us. And not every IXP has the funds to travel or the personal social network to leverage. I'm happy where we are at Stuttgart-IX, and I generally enjoy working with all of these CDNs we do, and the corporations have been great, and they have been supportive of us. They have not only been taking our power racks and connectivity, but they have given back. Some of them are even paying for what they're delivering at Stuttgart-IX. But I'm often approached by even smaller IXPs and also all the altnets in the area that are struggling with the big guys. And yeah, I just wanted to relay this message here. So maybe you can just take my only ask, support the smaller IXPs and help us manage the long tail for you. I don't care if it's as a layer 2 IXP or as a layer 3 IXP, but work with us so we can manage the long tail for us before they die. So that's with that off my chest, let's finish with a quick outlook for Stuttgart-IX. We are in final touches of connecting Atlas Edge Stuttgart-1. So if you want to be there, I think it's D1 site to be connected in Germany, in Stuttgart. I'm not getting paid, sadly. We're paying to be there, but it is D1 data center. We have one of the largest fiber operators in the region connecting us with 100 gigs in the next couple of weeks. And one of Germany's top 3 eyeball networks is connecting also with 100 gigs in the next couple of weeks. I'll leave it to you to guess who it is. It's not Deutsche Telekom, and it's not the other guys that are just said that they will cease peering. So yeah, aside from that, you're all invited to join us for a great beering in 2026. We've had a great 20-year celebration a couple of weeks back, and I just wanted to pick up Malcolm's point earlier. I fully agree that a hobbyist IX is probably more of a business liability at some points than it is a business feature. We are not a hobby IX. We are actually incorporated. We do have contracts and SLAs you can rely on, and we will pay you out if we break these SLAs. The only difference is we're not getting paid, so it's still a hobby project for us, but it is a incorporation in the back. Yeah, with all that, I'd like to thank you on behalf of the entire Stuttgart-IX team for your attention. And yeah, happy to take any questions. Thank you. Or not. Thanks so much.
Thank you.